bangers, call me Masha Thrasher. After the retweets, I'm at you. No treat these, your CDs are frisbee. Trash them, has been. Speak royalty when you say the name. And speak loyalty when you say the gang. Trend hoppers follow whatever's next. When lyricism returns, all of you niggas dead. Might be on the rooftop getting bent with a click, with a rent be expensive as shit. Might be with the kin, blowing pit. Or in the sticks with my hand gripped on the ass of a bad bitch. Bars, I own them, call me the warden. Bars, rockin' silent on top of 4040. I'm more like Voorhees mixed with 50, Biggie and Chris Reeves. My 16s make history. The rest of y'all in last place. Respect mine, the punchlines will cash straight. Niggas fraud and use a rap as a cash chase. The roadblock, you pay toll for, fix your face. It's beef? Great, I was hungry for steak. Might push your wig back like a front lace. Might kick your teeth in till you choke. Even my C plus lines are road niggas quote. You rap kids is hideous. I don't rap circles or rap perimeters. We in the big leagues, you can't sit with us. Even if you was 50 deep and there was 10 of us. Headshot. Holding a headboard, pillow with red spot. Body is misplaced, closet is empty and cremated in your booth. Your man's got. Headshot. Holding a headboard, pillow with red spot. Rooftop like I'm bringing 88 back. 98 ski goggles with a wave cap. Informatic, I've been at it. Like adolescents in school, this nigga acting. Y'all been rapping for a long time, huh? We're following my waves and cleaning up, following up. I slaughtered and drink holy water. Murder, kill, burn your will in that order. I'ma show you what a real one bout. He jazzy till I toss his ass out of the house. Say my name, Future Hall of Fame. News 11 alert, you and your homies slain. Y'all about dough when y'all don't get it. Only time you flash is if you was photogenic. Only time you rap is during birthdays and Christmas. Kwanzaa, Ramadan, you holiday spitters. I'm a combo of Kiss, Luch, and Holiday nigga. Don't get mad at the system, you was born to be a victim. Headshot. Holding the headboard, pillow with bread.
I didn't fade into that one. Didn't fade into that one. I unmuted you. No, I could. Well, welcome everybody. That's like
this is a good start.
That's like if you're in a magic show and the curtain comes up and you're not ready. You're like, ta-da!
This is a good show. Like whoop whoop whoop.
So I didn't let the music like fade out like I usually do. So that's what my setup. My bad.
If you know bloopers, there you go.
But guys, we're live, raw, and uncut. But I posted on Facebook. I have a comment on so people can join up if they want. Let me minimize this screen. Boom.
Over here making Kool-Aid.
So Scorpio.
Yeah.
Is it nasty?
Yeah, I gotta get another packet.
He said it's watered down.
A little bit.
So here we are, smoking with Preacher. Before we start, everybody, I came prepared.
I came prepared too, but unfortunately, I can't smoke, so I'll be just smoking my cigarette.
He's gonna smoke a cigarette with us.
But let me also show the community that your boy did start smoking weed, and it hasn't changed. You know, we bring the best of the best. Got my little like Scooby Doo one, got my vape. But unfortunately, because I'm on drug court for the next still couple of months, won't be smoking. But when we do, we'll be celebrating.
He said, but when we do,
we'll be celebrating. Very fun. Very fun. Can't wait.
Hold on a sec. Yo, this is real embarrassing. No, it came down. The fuck? It's good. Hold on a sec. Why is it showing?
What happened?
Hold on. I'm gonna have to fix this. Hold on, people.
Technical difficulty.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty. because it's not showing on Facebook like it needs to. Hold on a second. Oh, there it goes. Okay, we're good. We're good, people. I sound like freaking Bob Ross. I'm gonna bring this happy little tree down here.
That's where half of our people are.
That's a nice little happy tree. You know, it's Bob Ross. That's a nice little happy tree. What's up there, Jesse? I'm just gonna talk like this from now on.
I'm just gonna talk like this from now on.
Like, yes, that's a nice little happy tree.
Then I'm just talk all country over here.
All country like.
All country like.
Scorpio, we are back for another episode, not of the Savage Collective, and this isn't even another episode.
This is actually the first. Well,
this is the first episode of Smoking with Preacher, and I'm excited. And so, excuse me.
And it starts lightweight. So sad.
We're good.
This is when you started smoking last week.
So, we are back. We are here for Smoking with Preacher. I'm excited. This is going to be every Saturday. This Saturday, today, we are talking about, is weed really the gateway, or are we lying to ourselves? And then next week, we're going to talk about who is the GOAT of rap. That's going to be a good one. So I definitely want to have people up. I definitely want to have people up for that one.
You're going to say Eminem, but that's a hard. I mean, I'm not going to take nothing away from M, but I don't know if I'd say that's the GOAT, you know. And you're talking about all generations?
I think so.
Depends on how you look at it. Are we talking?
Well, this is not for today.
Okay.
We will talk about it. We will talk about it next week.
Yes. Today is about.
Write down your rebuttals.
Today is about, is marijuana a gateway drug? That's what we're basically gonna try to, get to the bottom of and Scooby-Doo it today. Do you consider it a gateway drug? I yeah.
As I sit here and smoke it.
I'm not saying, I mean, it's not gonna be hypocritical if you were smoking it, but I mean, when you first got introduced,
you mean when I was growing up?
Yes. Was it? Did you consider that, like? So here, I'll put it in perspective for me. So when I was in my teens, I remember I was going through my rebellious stage and got in trouble at school. And I remember that I went to an alternative school for a little bit. And that's where I really got introduced to marijuana. And I remember that all the kids would smoke. And I remember I didn't smoke at all. I didn't smoke cigarettes or anything. And I remember, like, to hang out with them, it just seemed like I might as well smoke. It seemed like, and it wasn't like they were getting in trouble. They were just smoking and going to class and, doing their thing. So that's why I remember smoking. Now, mind you, my first time smoking, we started at a regular bodega.
This is funny because the first point I have is your first experience smoking.
And this is, when I first smoked, I remember we were at the bodega at the corner. Our school was down the street. All we did was go to the store to get cigarettes because we got a few like bogeys there. And then we grabbed the Dutch and they rolled it. On the way, we started smoking it. I hit that shit twice. I shit you not. I did not know by the time I hit the second time, coughing my lungs out, couldn't breathe. I didn't know where we were going. by the time I hit it the second time. Completely confused, was walking into school, and then got super paranoid as we're going through the metal detectors and stuff, and the guys are all looking at us, and I'm
He's
like going to class.
It's gonna detect it. It's gonna
Yo,
detect it.
at first I was like, are we going to school? Like, why are we going to school for? Like, I was so confused. And it felt like it took us a 5-minute walk, felt like it took 8 hours. Like it was a weird experience, but I remember it so vividly. Now, fast forward, I smoked from that day, even though the experience sounds weird and terrifying. I continued to smoke nonstop until I was in my early 30s. Now that I'm on drug course, actually the only reason why I stopped.
Yo,
But what?
so I remember my first time, like, well, because my first time was under the bridge in the town I grew up in, and all the drummers, we like one of them somehow got weed on them, right? And so after school, after drumline, we would go to this. Hopefully, my mom doesn't watch this because I've never told this story. But anyways,
She knows now.
So like we would go to this restaurant, this little diner called Jelly Beans. Like shout out to Jelly Beans. It's not there anymore, but it was downtown Geneva.
Kind of backwater.
Yo, it was
diner.
So look, we would go right, and their chicken wings were gigantic, and so we would always after drumline go to eat these chicken wings. So we go eat, and then one person is like, "Yo, I got some weed," and so we're like, "Dude, let's go smoke." And we have no papers or nothing, so we rip the back out of Mice and Men. And use the back page. And I remember lighting that thing and just black smoke went up in the air like we were signal calling.
Oh my God.
So that was technically my first time. My second time was when I was going to FLCC in Canandaigua. And like, so I had eventually left my parents' house, went to my grandparents' house, left my grandparents' house. Like, and that's, if anybody knows my story, that's part of my story. Bad stuff happened in between there. But I go to Canandaigua and move into this apartment with the dude whose song plays before this, the Headshot song. So him, this other dude, and another dude. And so, like, on the weekends, we would smoke. And so I remember we were smoking, we were gone. And we were all out in the hall, like we were in the living room laughing and joking. The one dude had class in the morning, and he was our ride. And so he comes out, and we're all laughing, having a good time. And he walks out, and he's like, "I'm not giving you a ride." Then he walks back into the room. So that was my first experience. Then I realized the next day, fuck, now I have to walk to school. And if anybody knows anything about Canandaigua, New York, I went from Tops all the way to FLCC.
Damn.
That was a doozy.
That's a little bit of a trek.
See, but I was fine at first because I was thinking of like the downtown area, and I was like, that's not far. I forgot all about everything before downtown.
I'm about to say, like,
and that's what made the walk long as hell.
Yeah.
But that was my first time. I've had.
Now, how did you feel? You know, what was the feeling? I felt good as hell.
I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't getting a ride until I woke up in the morning and realized, fuck, I have to walk now. That's when I cared, like, and we can sit here and tell stories, Lord, but that's not the topic.
Well, I asked that because to I asked how you feel because I remember that as a kid I had anxiety issues sometimes. Like I remember I had that, and I remember that was one of the reasons why I originally started smoking. For some reason, when I got high and I smoked weed, I felt normal. Like I felt like I wasn't high really. I was more like myself.
Yeah.
And I felt more comfortable being myself. You know, and I remember everybody would drink and stuff, and it wasn't really my thing. You know, like I didn't like how you felt. I didn't like the taste. That was one at my age. And then I didn't like how you felt. You know, there was bad after effects. I never had a hangover after I smoked weed, but I would have hangovers after drinking.
It just wears off.
Yeah.
You're all happy and giddy one minute, and then you're like, well,
I remember, but if you remember, you had to like it's a lot more okay now. But if you remember when we were younger, you had to hide it. Like, I mean, spray with you in the backpack, you know, make sure your breath didn't smell like it. Like, I would make sure, like, my coat somehow.
I remember there was this one dude when I went to FLCC who, this dude, in between every single class, he would go out to his car and smoke weed. And this is the thing. And this is why I'm like, I do not think it's a gateway drug, because I have never seen someone ruin their life and be a pothead. I have met some smart ass potheads that pass everything, and that, like, you sit down and they'd be like, oh, and like rattle off all these numbers. I have never seen a pothead that like was like, you know what, I'm gonna go rob a bank right now.
But you're thinking like, okay, so you're thinking mental wise, and I'm saying behavioral wise that maybe it is a gateway drug.
Well, even
because you get bad behaviors doing that. Like, okay, yeah, you're good at, you know, being good in, you know, math and things like that, and great for you. But you don't think that's a bad behavior, that you're skipping out on classes and that you're not.
But look, that dude. Well, so there was the dude who he would go to his car in between every class. He would go to every class, and he would be extremely productive in class, and he wouldn't smell like weed or nothing. But this dude would be high as hell, and so, but he would go, and then he would come back in, and he'd be straight. It was when he wasn't smoking where you're like, oh God, look at this dude.
Some people are like that. That's what I mean. Like, weed helps. I'm not saying that weed doesn't have a lot of medicinal purposes, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I love weed, but I think
it's a mindset.
I think it depends on the person too.
Because look, it could be people. People could be a gateway drug. Like, so I think it's a mindset. It's whatever you begin to do, and it like begins to take over your life. If that makes any sense. Like, so if it's like everything that you think about, you start cheating people and robbing people to get the weed, then there's a problem. Like, and then that could lead down other paths, because then you're like, okay, take away that, now I have to find something stronger. So I think it's, what do you initially start with it as? And so if you're starting with it as something like you're using to cope with stuff, you're going to naturally move on to something else, because you're going to have to try to get more. That's why people don't just stop at crack. They go to crack, then heroin. Then they don't just stop at heroin. And so it's like they keep going up. So I think if you come at it, like, if you start, you're like, yo, I'm just doing this because, like, I'm mellow. But if I don't do it tomorrow, whatever. If I don't do it the next day, whatever. Then it's not a problem.
Well, it comes with, I think it comes with responsibility. Like, I think a lot of it is, I think one is age. I think maturity is one.
Absolutely.
I truly believe that.
Nobody is ready to smoke weed as a kid, because
no. And what's unfortunate is when we all started smoking was, you know, when we were kids.
Well, you have to think, what's one thing weed does? It relaxes you. So you're going to, like, if you look at someone who's in their 70s, they're probably, when they're smoking, going to act like they're in their 50s. And so, because it mellows you out so much that you start, not that you lose maturity, but you become more relaxed. So the things that we've learned over time to like stop us have been cleared out of the way for that small time you're smoking it. So it mellows you out so much where it would seem that it lowers your maturity. So if you're doing it at already an age where you're not mature, you're gonna act really not mature when you start smoking. And that's why when you, like you said, when you get older, yeah, like because then when it lowers that maturity and you become more relaxed, you're not doing off the wall shit because you're like, yo, I'm too old to do that. I'm just gonna sit and vibe out.
I did. See, don't. I remember reading something. I could be wrong, but I remember reading something where when you start using drugs, depending on the age, and that goes for weed too, the maturity level that you're at, you stay at that maturity level. The drugs kind of keep you at that maturity level. So if you look at it from a drug standpoint and you started smoking when you were 14, now if that statement's true and you know your maturity level stays the same as soon as you start smoking, then you never really, unless you take a break from smoking, you stay at that maturity level. Which I'm not saying, I'm saying there's a lot of smart, like I've met, just like you, I've met really smart potheads, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's awesome. But then I've also met, it's a 50-50 shot. I've also met dudes that have smoked and like they're dumb as fucking rocks. You know, like,
well, again, they're not gonna, but they're still not gonna go commit a crime. They're not gonna ruin their life. They're just gonna sit there. The people that are dumber than a box of rocks are the ones that smoke and just sit there like, yeah, man, yeah. But then you have the ones who are like, they smoke and they're like, yo, I'm gonna go write a song real quick. Like you have Eminem, you have Snoop Dogg, you have all those, like it opens up a creative juice, and so already you're like ambitious, but then it like puts that into overdrive. But then it's almost like it amplifies something that you already have, if that makes any sense. So if you're already like blah, blah, when you smoke, you're gonna you're even more blah blah. But like, so like, I think it just amplifies. I like what Timmy said right here. He's like, weed exposes you to people who can provide access to other drugs. So like when it's not legal, and so there's some states where it's legal, some states where it's not, and so.
Well, when it's like, not legal, that opens that's when you meet
the bad people. Huh? So that's what Timmy's saying. Like if you're in a state, like even before it became legal in states, you're having to go to the same people that are more than likely selling crack at the same time. And so, like true. He said, when it's in an illegal state, like that exposes you to these other drugs. So I can see how somebody would say, when you look at it from that angle, I could see how somebody could say like it's a gateway drug, because if you're going up to buy weed from your plug, like then you're gonna eventually one day he's like, yo, you want something stronger? Because he's trying to get that money. And so I can see from that angle where it would be a gateway drug.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's like a big, one of the biggest issues with it. I mean, granted, it's legal.
Add on top of that, what Timmy said earlier, and I read to you, like when the educational system tells kids like, yo, weed is bad, and now not only is it bad, but then you try it and you're like, yo, I'm mellowed the fuck out. What do you mean it's bad? Because what did I say? No one goes and does something to destroy their life when they're smoking weed. So our entire life we're told, yo, weed's bad, and then we smoke it and we're like, no, it's not. And then like once we realize, oh, weed's not bad, what are you talking about? Then it's like when the dealer, because remember you have to go to that dealer. Now when the dealer's like, yo, I got something harder, you're like, well, I mean, my mom didn't say weed was bad. And
My
now,
mom didn't say weed was bad.
or my mom said weed was bad, but now I smoked it and I'm like, no, it's not. So wonder if she was like wrong about this thing too. And so then that slowly leads you down that path of getting addicted to harder stuff. So I can see, and that's why I would say it, because I never smoked enough growing up that it led me, because I always smoked stuff that other people got. So I never had to go to that person because I was never smoking like that. The only time I started smoking like that is when I became an adult and I could get it from people I knew. Like, and so now I'm not going to those places where they're like, yo, I got this. Like, so I can definitely see where somebody would, like, if you look at it from that lens, where it would be a gateway drug.
Okay, I understand that. I do.
That's all you got?
I'm listening, because to a point, I mean,
do you see like, so if you don't, like, for me, I would say it's not a gateway drug because I never went to the plug to get it. So I never was exposed to the crack and the heroin and all that. Not to say you have to smoke weed to go to that stuff either.
Exactly.
Like, because I didn't smoke that much weed, and so that means there's other things that get you. It's wherever your path goes that takes you to that. So it could be a gateway drug for some people, and it could be weed to other people. Like,
yeah, I think
it all depends what led you to that drug. You can't really answer it until someone becomes addicted to crack. Like, you can't say, oh, weed. But it's the truth. Like you can't have a 16-year-old sitting there smoking in their bedroom or in the basement, and their mom comes down like, yo, you better not keep smoking that. That's a gateway drug. How do you know until the person gets addicted to crack? Like,
that's true.
Because you can't look what you looked in the future and saw I was automatically going to get addicted to crack because I was smoking this weed. So that's what saying it's a gateway drug is doing, is that you're automatically, like, condemning this person to becoming addicted to other things.
I think you were right when you said that it amplifies, certain, your characteristics, and I think that's why I said it really, though I truly agree, with what you're saying. I think maturity is a big part of it.
100%.
And I think that when you don't understand what you're doing, drug wise, especially nowadays where weed is kind of glorified, and you don't need a it's not like people advertise you don't need a substance to be where I'm at. Most people advertise, it's weed and things like that get me to that point, when it's not necessarily true. It just, like you said, amplifies the good characteristics that you already had. Now, it also amplifies bad characteristics. So if you're a person that, has a problem socializing, and you're a person that has a problem being outgoing, and you start smoking weed, well, if no one kind of tells you the ins and outs of smoking,
you're going to isolate the hell.
Yeah, exactly. And when you
that's
isolate,
when people get really depressed.
Exactly, which then leads to a bunch of other things, which then leads to antidepressants, which gets worse. I think that's why I think the stigma of...
Well, and right here, Tracy said, first time I had crack, and I think it was meth. It was in laced weed.
Whoa!
Like, and so that's another, like, how Timmy was saying it. Like, it exposes you to other things. Like, so if you're getting your weed from someone who already deals, they could either offer you more or be like, yo, I'm going to get this person hooked and lace it in your shit.
And a lot of people are doing that now because, unfortunately, you look at drug dealing as a business. Now, if I'm selling weed and then the state decides to make it legal, and now there's stores that are open and selling weed. Well,
They
now
have a
I don't
lot,
make money.
and they have a lot better shit.
Yeah, I don't make money off of weed. They have variety. They have things that I just don't have anymore. It's different from me just selling weed. So now what do I do? What's my way of how do I stay relevant?
How do I live without?
There's the only way for me now to stay relevant is I need to lace my shit, and am I going to be honest, and say, hey, by the way, this got some extra spice in it, no, I'm not going to say shit. That's why a lot of people have fentanyl and shit in their weed now, and don't understand why they're smoking, a dub, rolling a few blunts when they get home. And next thing you know, they're like feeling shitty and sick, 2 days later. And your weed dealer is not going to tell you like, oh shit, that's because, I put this and that. I know a lot of people that got sick because of that.
You know what's crazy? So I was just thinking, you have legal, because there's still, like you said, there's still people that sell weed on the street.
Yes.
But they have right down the road, like even here in Newark, there's probably a shitload of people that sell weed. But right down the road next to Walmart is a dispensary. And so you have legal versus illegal. And they are doing to weed what they did with drugs. It's the same thing. Like you have the street. If you buy it on the street, weed is bad. But if you go to the farm, if you go to the dispensary, weed is good. If you get fentanyl from the doctor's office, it's good, right? When I went for my heart, I heard the doctor come in and he's like, "Hey, I got some fentanyl for you." And I was like, not for me, but for one of the other patients. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. They're giving people fentanyl in the doctor's office, but on the street people are getting fentanyl and dying. And so
but there's a reason why they do that.
And so weed has slowly become what drugs are now, because you can buy fentanyl on the street, or you can get fentanyl given by the doctors and administered right, and then it's okay for if they give it to you. You buy weed on the street, it's bad. You go to a dispensary and get it from people who have gone to school and can tell you like, oh, what's going on?
Yes.
So I went into the dispensary and they were like, Sabrina and I went, and they were like, asked us all these fucking questions, like what do you like to do, and like, are you trying to fall asleep, or are you trying to stay up, like, and so asking all these questions, and then they're like, I got something for you. And so just like a doctor's office would. And so it's like they're slowly making it where they can monopolize themselves off of the drugs that they created. Damn, we're gonna get shut down.
It's not monopolizing. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. If you're going to a store,
I understand because they're making it safer, because they recognize the benefits. But it's
the same thing when it comes to fentanyl.
It's a safe option. It's a safe option. It's a safe way to do it and use it in the way that it needs to be used.
Exactly.
Where it doesn't become a gateway drug.
So lately so I'll give you another one. So lately they've been having places where you can go now and use heroin.
Yeah,
and in safe places. Now
I forget what they're called. Like
that's not
safe places.
Now
safe spaces.
Now there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Me being a user that used to do it, I don't know if I would go there, but to have the option to do it,
heroin place.
Yeah, to have the option to do it in a safe environment is a whole different thing. Because if you look at it, it's the country's way of trying their best to deal with the epidemic of people anywhere, in the United States, just numbing themselves. Everyone wants to numb themselves through the bullshit that goes on through your everyday life, whether it's politics, whether it's your everyday bullshit. It gets taxing. So everybody has an outlet, whether you work out, whether you spend time with your family, whether you're a social media freaking psychopath, whether you want to smoke some weed, everybody has an outlet. Now, unfortunately, drugs is an easy outlet. And everybody decides that, if I'm going to do a drug, then the best way to do it is go, not saying it's wrong, but it's easier to go. Like, if I had a choice now, if I was younger and I had a choice now, I probably would just stick with dispensaries and shit. Why?
No,
because
absolutely.
It's a safer bet.
100%.
Now, I think that I remember we had an argument about this in our class because some kids were like, it's stupid to have these places where you can do heroin and things like that. And that's crazy to say that, because there's no safe place now, where I'd rather be in a safe place than be in a trap house.
See, so I think we're slowly, and I like this topic, but I think we're slowly going away from, is it a gateway drug though? Because that's what you're talking about, is like after you have gotten there. Now, how do we make it safe? But I think when we look at specifically and like take everything away and set all the other drugs like on the outside of weed, like then the question is, if I use this grass that I'm holding in my hand, like, is it, I'm not holding it right now, but is it something that will lead to the things out here? And I think that it depends on how you're getting it in the beginning.
The reason why we're leaving the topic is because you can only beat a dead horse so long. Me and you can sit here for hours trying to saying the same 50-50 shot, because it's always going to be a 50-50 shot, because 100%. At the end of the day, it's how it affects that person. It 100%. Always will come down to
and that's why I say at the beginning, like, it's where you can't say it is a gateway drug or not until you see where that person's life ends up. And if weed is like for me, look, now that I know I got into harder stuff than weed, now let me look back on my life, and did that come through weed? If it did, it might have been a gateway drug for me. If it didn't, then no, weed was not a gateway drug. And so I think we can't determine, is this a gateway drug, until we can see if that's what led them to something harder or not. Because if it didn't, then weed wasn't a gateway drug. If it
that's
did,
a dangerous experiment.
That's a long ass experiment. So
we're gonna wait and see if this nigga smoke crack in a couple of years.
We need 5 babies that will not smoke weed.
We're
we
so
need 5 that
canceled.
Will.
We're so getting canceled.
But that's the only way. That's the only way you can test it. Is if
let's get you hear this? Let's get babies high.
I did not say that.
Let's see where they go years later, and if they turn to crack babies, then we know it was true.
Look, I said we watched them. So we watched 5. But that would take, like, the point is that would take ages. Like, if you're like, okay, we're gonna watch these 5 kids from the time they were born to the time, like, you'd have to, if they don't.
I truly believe they do have experiments like that, though.
The thing is, if you're like, I'm gonna watch this kid from the moment he's born till he starts using, what if he never starts using? Then you're watching and watching and watching and watching and watching, and when they die, then it's like, okay, weed wasn't a gateway drug.
But then you would try to break down, why was that kid so different than the other ones that did use? So, I mean, the experiment, I believe they have experiments like that all day. And the experiment would tell you a lot. Like, what makes what makes the difference between that one kid that didn't use compared to the other ones that did use? You know what I mean?
That's a big ass study.
It'd be worth it though, and
it definitely would be, like, because then you'd have the people that started using.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, why did they start using? Oh, that one didn't point. They never smoked weed. Okay, so for that person, why, like, what they did? Why did they go that way because of that? If they started because they were smoking weed, well, what was it about the weed, or was it the weed, or was it something that was going on, like, with them? And so it would be a crazy study. Like,
well, I think that's why it's so cool. That's why I think that now it being legal, it's such an amazing thing now, because like you said, you went to the dispensary and they asked you a bunch of questions, because there's different strains, different strands, and then different strength in the weed, that you kind of have to, tell, this is what I like to do. This is I like to chill, or I'm manic and I don't know how to sit the fuck down, or, because you need to know how strong the shit that you're getting and what it does to you. Maybe you don't want to be comatose, passed out. Maybe you don't want to eat your house out of a refrigerator when you go home,
because they do
want to do something.
They have weed that helps you lose weight. They have weed that helps
exactly.
You like,
I think that that's a way better thing than me going to my local drug dealer and hoping that this nigga don't kill me.
Because then you don't even know. Then you don't know even what it's going to affect. All they tell you is it's indica or sativa, and you're like, okay, so it's going to put me to sleep. Okay.
Some of them niggas don't even know that. Like they just like this shit good. This shit good.
But that's why I think when we look at things like fentanyl and things like that, is fentanyl, when used right, can be an amazing thing, because like they use it to, someone, Tracy put fentanyl for epidurals. So like when used in the right way, it can be good. But then when someone who knows that's why if you go to school for it and you do this and that, you can work with fentanyl. If you go to school and learn about it and like, okay, this is this strand, then you can work at a dispensary. And so, but when you put it in the hands of someone who knows absolutely nothing about what they're doing, it becomes a weapon.
I think it's
just like anything.
I think that answers your original question, and that's when it turns into a gateway drug.
100%.
When the drug goes into the hands of a person that doesn't know what they're doing, 100%. And then that's what turns those drugs into gateway drugs. Not the person necessarily that's taking it, but the person that's issuing it, and them not knowing what it's going to do to that person. And instead of being how a doctor would be, which is there to protect you, a drug dealer is not there to protect you. They're there to make money. So at the end of the day,
if you overdose, what do? They give you something that the doctor's like, yo, you're doing this wrong, and you're gonna kill somebody. So since you don't know what the fuck you're doing, we do. So here's this thing that will stop them, because you're giving them this shit that you don't know what's going on. So a doctor is at the end of the day, like, doing what they're supposed to and understanding, okay, we went to school to work with this fentanyl.
They're trying their best to
take if they won't learn how to use it, like, and do it the right way, then we'll come down to their level and give something that will protect the people then.
Which I totally agree with.
Mind blowing. That's crazy. Mind blowing. That's fucking crazy.
You have to do it that way, because it's the only way to counteract what's going on now. Mm-hmm. If I can't, it's like that saying, if I'm not gonna join you. Like, I can't beat you, but I'm not going to join you.
But I'm not going to join you either.
I'm not going to join you either, because that's just going to make it worse. So you do your best to try to counteract what they can. So,
but I'm not going to fight you either.
No.
And so what I'll do, knowing that people are going to do it, I will give them a way to protect themselves until they realize I need to stop doing this.
Now, I think when the country decided to do that, and I think when the CDC and doctors decided this is how we're going to do it, we're not fighting them no more. We're going to do our best to try to save them the best way we can. Now we're going to legalize weed. We're going to fight to legalize weed because that's where it starts. Marijuana 100%. And the pills and things like that. Now, we control the pills, technically. I mean, technically doctors and them are who control the pills. Now, whether they, are shady as shit is two different things.
100. Because at the end of the day, that's an ethics issue rather than.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, you're doctors who controls that. So now they have a monopoly on both, which is a good thing, though, because now it's a controlled substance. Now we can maintain, how it gets distributed. Same thing they're trying to do now. Same thing you were just talking about earlier about going to going to the hood and giving out water bottles and things like that. That
makes fucking sense, bro.
It's the only way.
How they give out in rehabs and stuff, you're controlled and you're just regular over the counter.
Because it's the only way to counteract what you're doing. I mean, how do you just like you said earlier today while we were talking that you one day want to drive around the hood and try to help out and give bottles out of water and try to help and give back to what we can. One of the main things of doing that is helping people, you got to give out the needles, you got to give out the alcohol pads, things like that. I know that I've seen that happen a million times out on the street. And you'd be surprised how those things will save someone's life.
And that's
your drug dealer's not doing that.
You have to look at it from two things because, and now that I think about it, I think about those times where you hear some people say, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to hand out clean needles. We're going to hand out alcohol pads because what they're doing is they're like, if we can't stop them and we can't hey, come on, you're going to rehab, then we are going to make it as safe as possible so they can live as long as they can so that they can find that in themselves to go. And so that's what they're doing. And then you have the flip side, and I understand that side as well, where it's like, no, why are we handing them that? Let's just help them. And so I understand both sides because one side is yo, let's help them now so that they don't have to suffer this anymore. And the other side is yo, okay, I understand that we need to do that, but it's not that easy. And I think it's the ones who have been there that are the ones who are it's not that easy. It's like what we talked about yesterday or the other day. Is it a disease or a sickness or a choice? It's you have the people who say it's a choice. They're like, yo, let's just go and have this big movie worthy speech to somebody, and they're like, you know what? I am going to rehab. Get me off the streets today. That's not
it never works.
That's not happening. But you have the people who look at it as a choice, and they're and those would be the same ones who are why are you going and handing out food to them? You're just making them comfortable while they're sitting in that. And it's yes, I understand that, and that breaks my heart that they are still in that. But that one day, I'm not going to go up that same day and be like we said, I'm not going to be, hey, come with me. Okay. It's not going to happen that way. And so in understanding that and recognizing that, now I need to figure out how can I, like I said, make them as safe as they can and help them live as long as they can so they can make that decision for themselves. And so that's maybe going out and handing out food and things like that. That's what that's doing.
Because maybe not that day they make that decision, but if they see that you're constantly trying to help them, there's only, I mean, human nature, that you need people. When you isolate yourself and things like that, it almost causes you to die. You need people, and when you have somebody that connects to you like that, that means something. Just show that they care. A lot of people don't even have that.
Even more than that, like because even the doctors who have come up with things like Narcan, they might not go on the street and give you food, but they took their time, they took their energy to figure out, like, okay, so what goes on when the drugs go up there, and then they're like, okay, now we know what goes on. Let's make something so when that happens, and they get too much of it in them, we can keep them alive. And so when you look at like people like you and me who have overdosed, if there wasn't people who were like, you know what, let's just take them off the street. Why are we helping them and making them comfortable? If you didn't have people who were like, no, I understand, we want to get them off the street, but we have to give them time. If you didn't have people like that, we wouldn't have Narcan, and you and I wouldn't be sitting here today. Like, no. And so it's like, it puts it all into perspective, and it goes again, it answers that question, is it a gateway drug or not? It depends on whose hands it went in to distribute it.
Heck no, it's not a gateway drug. Shoot, I had some of my funnest time smoking. I remember I met my best friend like that. My childhood friend, that's how we met, I remember walking from school every day, and he had this DMX CD. And I actually had the DMX CD.
Don't give it to you.
Yeah, and he saw me every day, listen to my music, and he was like, yo, can I listen to it? We went to his house. He smoked weed, and I remember, and I was like, I remember shit. I got comfortable smoking with him, and next thing you know, we were potheads, every day, we started from buying dimes and doves to buying ounces.
Damn. So Tracy put this is crazy. Tracy put, our bodies naturally have an endocannabinoid system, the ECS and CB1 receptors in our brain, proving it was meant for medical purposes. And so how like heroin and crack and all, well, mostly heroin, because crack doesn't really, it latches to your receptors, but not as like overload as heroin and like opiates. And so these people recognize there's things in our brain that when we smoke, they attach to our brain in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have heroin and like any opioids, fentanyl, things like that, where it attaches to receptors in a bad way. Because I guarantee you, if you give someone who's high Narcan, they're probably going to be pretty pissed off at you, regardless of how high they are.
Which is true. I mean, I think that think about how long we've been around. So again, I think it goes back to what you said. The answer of the question is whose hand is distributing it, because if you go to a dispensary to get weed, they're not going to next week be like, yo, I got something else for you. Because if they do, it's a new strand of weed. Like they're not selling you anything other than like THC. And so, but then if you go to a dealer though, because they're just trying to make money, they're like, yo, like a couple weeks later, they figure out who you are and they're like, yo, I got you want to try something better? Like, and that's why they prey on certain personalities, because they know exactly what to do. While at a pharmacy, we're not talking about a pharmacy because they're a whole different thing. But with weed, it's coming from now a person who's like, no, I went to school for this. I studied this. I know how it's good. Like, and so that's when it becomes, like Tracy said, where now it's used in the way that it's supposed to be used. For sure.
But if you get it, when it gets that stigma is when they get it from the trap house down the street, and 2 weeks later, the dude slips them some crack, and then they get hooked, and everyone's
which is, and they don't even do that now. You know, now I know being in drug court, there's been a few times that there's been guys that have gotten in trouble in drug court because they have to they all they do is smoke weed. And that's why drug court doesn't allow you to do any drug, whether it's weed or not.
That makes sense. Because you don't know where they're going to get it from.
They don't. And that person could be doing what they're supposed to be doing in sobriety. You know,
and then they go to the wrong dealer.
And that dealer puts, you know, that bullshit in their weed.
And now they relapse. And
exactly
life again.
And then
that makes, you just answered the question. When people get pissed off in drug court, like, why can't I smoke weed? That is the reason why drug court does not allow it.
Which is why
we don't know if you're going to a dispensary. We don't know if you're going to your old plug. Like, and so it makes it where since it is legal, we're just going to say no. Because
we're just going to say, because that stops you not only from that, but like you just said, it stops you from going to the neighborhoods, which obviously that could lead to other things. B, it stops you from talking to the people that can open you up to, you know, wrong avenues. And on 3 accounts that you don't know what these people are putting in your drugs anymore.
And granted, you could have someone in drug court who would go to a dispensary and do it the right way. But most of the time, if someone's coming into drug court, it's because they just got off the street. Yes. And so it's like, yeah, we're like, because if we let you day one, you're more than likely going to go to where you already know. You're not going to walk into a dispensary. You don't have an ID. Like, and so like they have to go there. And so drug court's like, yo, we're just, no.
They won't even let you do it, even if you have a doctor's note anymore.
That's wild.
I remember when I started, and it used to, like, they were letting that happen if you had a doctor's note. But then, of course, dudes were getting doctor's note from motherfuckers in like Costa Rica and Venezuela.
I know in rehabs now they give you a pill, so then they know that, okay, this is the level you should be at with the pill. So when we do a UA, now THC showed up. Oh, they have a medical card. Oh, it's this amount, so we know they were on the pill. Oh shit, it's more than the pill. So now we know you're going outside of what we said.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
they don't. I know that none of the programs,
they give them in cap, just like how you'll get like the things. You get a capsule of. I haven't seen one, but
I know the programs out here. They don't even allow that. Like it's not even on the table. Like they just refuse to let any type of things, whether it's like you just said. Why will we let you date one and not the other? So to just not even tempt you, they don't even open the door to it anymore.
And that makes sense.
It does. I totally support that, and that's why as much as I hate not being able to smoke weed, because I think that my sobriety would be a lot more easier if I was able to smoke weed.
Then you have to find a dispensary. Then if you don't have an ID, then you have to get an ID so you can get in, because they check your ID. And then you have to make sure you have the money, because they tax the shit out of it. And so, like, I can see why most people don't go to a dispensary, because they're like, well, I don't have an ID, but my man's down the street doesn't ask me for an ID, and it's only $20. Like, and so, like, they're more willing to go to them, but that's when you open the door to, well, is there something else? And that's when it could become that gateway to something more. Like, because just think, if I would have started smoking weed and have never, before I started smoking crack, I didn't smoke it, and so, or do anything like that. And so if I start smoking weed, let's say, I'm like, well, I mean, well, I think back then, and then again, it's who you know before that, because I wasn't in the hood, so I would have went to a dispensary. Like if I would have started smoking weed, so that wouldn't have happened. And so I think too, it's like, where did you start off? Were you already in the hood? Because if you were already in the hood, like, you don't know a plug unless you know somebody that knows a plug, and you don't know them, like, right? And so, like, it is a vast topic, because you could go so many like different avenues, like.
Which is why it's such a
look,
big.
How many have we talked already? Like 5 different scenarios.
Not even more than that, because there's so many different. Because each avenue had 4 different branching ones. Because you could easily look at it from any perspective. I mean, that's why I originally said earlier that it's beating a dead horse. Some things, is it a gateway drug? No. And yes, depending on, and then that's when you got to go down the avenue, depending on what, what makes it.
So basically we just got a good hour show
that went nowhere. Thank you, marijuana.
Which is what weed does.
Thank you, smoking with Preacher on a Saturday. Where did we go? Nowhere fast.
We had some good talk. We had some good conversations.
Well, we had some good topics, and I think that if we didn't do anything else tonight, we informed you about what that's safety, and that's what matters.
That's what Tim said here. I'll read Tim's comment from earlier, because he said just that. There's our beautiful faces. Okay, right here. So Tim said, he was like, the education system conditions weed to be the gateway drug by not being honest about the difference between weed and heroin. Then you have, of course, fentanyl and things like that. The bottom line is weed education, which is what you're saying, which is what we did tonight. Weed education should be rooted in facts and data versus fear. Because nowhere did we say, well, you shouldn't do weed because it's bad for you, or it's like it's going to make you do this or that. Like that's what we were told. And that's why we well, it's the truth though. That's what we
remember the commercials. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
Not weed. And so we were led to believe that weed is bad, don't do it, and if you do it, you're bad. And so that's why we smoked it under the bridge, or we went to the bathroom and we smoked right by the freaking window. Like so that's why we carry around spray, so we can spray it before we walk in places. Like and I understand, like now, like if you're at work and before you come into work you were smoking it, so you're like, because you don't, it's unprofessional. Like, but I'm talking about like when you're a kid and you're like, oh shit, let me spray some Axe on real quick, so my parents don't smell it. So we try to hide it. We try to hide it because we're told it's bad, which is what Timmy's saying right here. And so since we're trying to hide it because we think it's bad, we're gonna go to bad people to get it. Which again goes to what you said. It's who holds it, but we'll just look at something like heroin, or opiates. Like if I'm told it's bad, what am I gonna do? Like when I get hooked on it, I'm not gonna go to the doctor and be like, yo, what do we have to do? Like I'm starting to feel like hooked on it. Like what do we have to do to stop it? You're gonna keep going and keep going and keep going. And that's when you get addicted. Like I almost got addicted to opiates when I broke my leg. But then I went to the doctor and I said, yo, like I'm starting to want this. And so they weaned me off of it. And so again, it's who's holding on to it. Like they know how to deal with it. Yeah,
my doctors
feel the effects. let me take a couple off of it. In the hood, they're like, oh, you feel the effects? Here's some more.
My doctors tried to hand me like prescription drugs when I broke my ankle, and I even had to tell them. I had to tell them, like, I'm I struggle with substance abuse, and they still are like, well, here's some oxys. What?
And God cannot cure stupid.
No.
Like, so I think that's the message at the end of the day. It's like, if you're going to smoke weed, like, it is legal. It has its benefits. Like, I don't think anybody would say it doesn't. And so if you're going to do it, one, be of legal age. Like, because like we said, it does, if you get it, because if you're not legal age, you're going to get it from the places you shouldn't. So, like, wait until legal age, and then, like, be mindful of where you get it, 100%. Like, and then I think educate yourself with it.
Know what you're smoking.
Know what you're smoking, and I think and don't be a fool about it. Like, I'm gonna go to work and smoke in the bathroom. No. Wait until if you have to smoke it in the bathroom, maybe you should look at if you should be smoking it or not. Like, if you can't,
there's another issue.
Absolutely. If you can't wait till you get home to smoke, or if you are constantly, oh man, I can't wait. Oh, when I get home, I'm gonna smoke. And I understand if it's a Friday, 100% think that. like it's
Saturday.
It's a long fucking week. I cannot wait to get home. I am going to roll one up and just, like, relax. That's at the end of the week. Yeah, do it. But if you're like, every day, man, I can't wait. I already got one rolled. Like, maybe there's a thing. Unless you haven't smoked in a while and you're like, well, I can't wait.
Stupid.
But I think this was a good topic. We did have some good conversation. We did just come right back to where we started, but we went somewhere while we were doing that. We got some good conversation, and that's all that this is about. It's like it's what weed does. It brings you this way and right back. And so I'm excited for just all the other conversations we are going to have while we do this. Like we said, next week we're talking about who is the GOAT of rap. I cannot wait for that one. That's going to
be a heated conversation.
I'm gonna come ready and locked and loaded. I'm gonna give you my top 5.
Oh my god!
So you do the same.
I can do it.
Come ready.
I got 5 off the top of my head.
Right now, Mondays I am getting them ready, but slowly we're gonna. That's gonna be Scorpio's baby. So we're gonna transition. Like, we're not just gonna pick it up and drop it in his lap. We'll slowly work him in, and he'll be taking care of Mondays. And
you'll be starting your week off with me, baby.
Starting the week off right. And so then Saturdays will be smoking with Preacher, and then in the middle, Scorpio and I will take it away with the table and the Savage Collective. So I'm super excited for everything we're doing. Like, it's going to be pretty cool. And I started a LinkedIn page, not a LinkedIn, Linktree. So it has our shop, it has like the merch, it has Facebook, it has YouTube, all that on it. And so I'll put that in the comments.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. And I have, because when we were Preacher's Corner, we had a shop, and so we had like the Savage hoodie, we have Sobriety Matters, that hoodie, like, so we have some recovery hoodies. And so but then when we started Savage Collective, I started a new shop. And that's where we have I fucking hate this place shirt. And so I put both of them on the Linktree so people can go get either one.
Which is fine.
Yeah, so we have that. Then we have linked. I want to link to Scorpio's Facebook page as well. I'm gonna do that tonight, and then Facebook will link to Scorpio's Facebook, my Facebook, and then the Savage Collective podcast page, and then the YouTube link, of course, goes to our YouTube channel.
Sounds good to me.
We have some awesome things lined up because someone might be getting a car soon. So that's going to open us up for some more things. We have a couple more things planned when Scorpio is done with drug court and can start working and things.
Oh, man, the ideas that are coming to our heads. It's going to be a fun one. So if you please stay tuned and please support us and let us show you, you know, the amazing ideas we have and the content that we're going to be sharing. It's just going to keep getting better. I'm excited, you know, about doing it. I know he's excited. You know, this is something that we planned for a long time, and I'm taking advice that somebody gave me earlier, you know, this week. I'm just doing it, and we're moving to. We're not gonna waste time. We're gonna, you know, take it. You know, if we want something, we're taking it now. You know, so instead of us being patient and waiting, we want to be, you know, the top #1 Facebook and YouTube, you know, site. We're gonna take it
eventually,
you know, and we'll show it, and we're gonna show it by the content and the things that we create and the topics and everything else that we create. So please stay tuned, and thank you for all the support that we get from everybody that supports us. Thank you so much.
Yes. So tomorrow there is nothing, but Monday we will be back with
Marvel Monday.
We'll be talking about the first Iron Man movie and looking into that a little bit. So I think when we get off here, I am going to start watching the Iron Man movie.
Team Tony Stark.
I am Iron Man. And so I like that better than I'm Batman.
Stupid.
So and what's crazy is he says I am Iron Man, he says I'm Batman. And they both have gadgets and everything. And they're both rich as hell. But anyways,
who would win that battle?
I don't know. That'd be interesting as fuck.
That'd be hot.
Yeah, it would. But I thank everybody for watching. I thank you for watching thereafter. And so just anybody who has been watching, thank you. We couldn't do this without you guys. We will be back Monday. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But that is it. We're done.